Okay, so in the previous video, we built this great jobs layout, and we've got this kind of really simple customer layout, but we've got some connections made, even though it's kind of loosely based on the customer's company name, which we don't really want to do. Because in case the customer changes their name. So we're going to make some edits to the relationships in this database. Now, let me show you something about FileMaker. FileMaker doesn't have a lot of times where you can undo something that you've done. There are very few instances where you can undo it. In the layout mode, when you're moving stuff around, you can undo that. But when it comes to the data in the database or the relationships between the records, once you make those changes are permanent. So, for example, even if I'm just in this here and I hit delete a few times and I click out of that field. So once I click out of that field, it has committed that record. And so if two people are looking at this record at the same time, once I click out of that field, their screen is going to update. If I click back in this field and hit Control Z, nothing happens. Edit, there's no undo here. There's nothing for that. The only thing purchase here, well, and then I can go to edit, undo typing. I can undo that right before I've committed the record, but that's it. There's nothing that can be done or undone. And so changes to the relationships of your database can make massive changes across the whole thing. They can really break stuff. So it's really important that you make backups. So one of the easiest ways to back up when we're talking about something so small, if you're following along, take your file, close it, close the FileMaker file, and then just Control C, Control V, make a copy, copy and paste it right to your desktop, and then rename that backup with a date or something descriptive for you, maybe the step you were on or something like that. So very simple to make backups. Close the file first and then make that backup. But do that often. It will save you a lot of heartache. So how do we make this relationship stronger? Well, we've talked a lot about these primary keys, which I haven't shown you what they are at all, but we have them in there. So what are they? How do they work? So let's hit Control Shift D or go up to File Manage Databases. And that brings us here to the Relationships tab. Well, let me just kind of show you how this is going to work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Jobs field, and we do have this customer field in there, which I'm going to leave alone for now. I will eventually just delete it. But customer key, I'm going to put that in there and create. Okay. And so this is the related customer key field. Okay, call it that. And then I'm going to go back to relationships here. Oh, save that. Go back to relationships here. I'm going to double click. Since this relationship's already built, you can just drag across. But since this relationship's already built, I'm going to double click that. And I'm going to change the relationship to go between. So let's delete this one out of here. I'm going to change this relationship to go between the customer primary key and the customer key in the jobs table. I'm going to hit add. And that's all I need to do. Click OK. And then OK. OK. And then what's going on, you can see that relationship just broke. You kind of watched it. If you watched it happen on the screen there, there's no name showing here. And I actually don't even have, oh, there we go. No matter what I do, I can't get that relationship to rebuild. There's no first name being pulled from the customers table, pulling this first name record right here. So we need to fix this relationship. So let's go and let me show you these primary keys and kind of how they work, or these keys in general, not all primary. So we've got the customer key here. Let's draw this out. And then let's just, for sake of showing you what the job key looks like. So we're not actually going to use this field, but I just want to show you that it exists. And then just like to keep these things even if we can. And then FileMaker gives us great tools for making those even. And then in here, there's all kinds of cool stuff over here when you have multiple fields selected. And then, so save that and then go to the customer, edit layout. Let's move this down just a little bit. And let's go to customer primary key. Put that up here. I'm going to make this big because I know these are long fields and I'll show you why. Okay, edit or save this. Now we're looking at this here. Wow, that is a big, ugly number. What is that? Well, that's called a UUID, and that's actually inserted automatically by FileMaker. FileMaker puts in that calculated value, get UUID. Okay, and so you don't need to know that. You just copy these primary key fields. You don't need to know it right now. FileMaker just built those fields for you. But this is a universally unique identifier, and that means that across all of the FileMaker, all the computers everywhere in the world, this is a unique key that has been generated for the primary key or for this record. And so that is a way that anytime in FileMaker it needs to know where this record is, you can look for this key, and that's going to make that connection, that relationship for us. So I oversimplified that greatly, but the point is that this doesn't need to change. And even though we're going to change, even though maybe the customer wants to change their name, sorry, that universally that ID key can stay the same, and so it won't break the relationships. So how do we use this? Well, let's go back to the jobs table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this field. So this is our customer selector field, okay? And so we don't want to, what we want to do is we want to use that key. We want to select the key. So I'm going to change this to the customer selector field, okay? And then hit exit. And does this work? No, still not building that relationship, okay? So the reason is that I'm actually dropping customers in there, just the names of the customers, which doesn't do us any good. What we actually need to do, edit, specify the field that it's coming from. What we actually need to do is we need to drop the customer's primary key in there. So I'm going to click OK again, click OK. Let's see how that works. Okay, so if I drop a customer's primary key in there, there we go. It built the connection. So contact's first name is Jim. Contact's first name is Hannah. And you can see we can even add another field to this just to make this even more clear. We can actually go to the related customers table, and I can bring in the company name as well. And exit that, save. And there we go. So I can change these keys. Good, done, right? Well, not really, because I guess if you only had 4 customers to work with, you could probably figure this out, but this would be awfully challenging to know what these primary keys are. So what do we want to do? Well, we don't want to change those primary keys. We want them to be these uniquely identifiable numbers. And so we want to keep those the same, but we kind of need to hide them. They're really part of the database infrastructure underneath that the users don't need to see, but we still need them there. So how do we hide it? Well, if I go to edit and I go select this, the first thing I'm going to do, and this is something that does kind of bug me about FileMaker, but I'm going to change this to a pop-up menu. Okay, pop-up menus are a lot easier to work with than drop-down lists. They're kind of harder to search, but for now, let's just switch to a pop-up menu. And then we've still got the include arrow to show and hide list, and then we have override data formatting with value list. So we want that selected, and we're going to go in, actually, just so I can show you what it does. Let's have that deselected for now. And then I'm going to go edit this, okay? And so we know that this is working now to build that connection, but it's not showing us a good list. So let's double click on that and go back into the customer list. I'm going to specify the field again. And then here's where this comes in. Also display values from the second field. Click that. And I want the company name to display values from the second field. And then we want to include all values. This is for another topic probably, or another video. And then show values only from the second field. That's what we want right there, right? And that's going to hide this value and only show this value. FileMaker knows that people need to do this, so they set it up just like this. Resort values based on English. This is going to be based on the viewable field, so that's going to put them in alphabetical order. That is great. Click OK. Click OK. OK. And exit save here. And if I click, now we have a good drop down list. That's working really well, actually. So you can see if I change it to John's House of Pancakes, John's House of Pancakes, if I go to the customer and the customer's like, no, I changed my mind. I don't want to be House of Pancakes anymore. I still like Pancake House. Can you please change it back? Okay, we've done that. Let's go back to the jobs. John's Pancake House, instantly updated. John's Pancake House, instantly updated. Everything's good. So, and the only messy thing we have here is this. So how do we cover that up? Well, edit layout. And remember how I unchecked this? I'm going to keep this checked. Override data formatting with value list. Okay. And so that's going to override the data that's actually in that field with something with the matching data from the value list. So exit layout, save that, and boom. Right? We are in good shape. And since I have the company name showing there, maybe I don't need to have this one, and let's clean this up a little bit now that we know that everything's working. Okay. And then let's go back. And you know what's really nice is just we're looking at a job. I think it's really important to just have that email address just ready to go and the phone number easy to find when we're working with a customer. No need to go to their account, I guess, on the customer page. And let's make sure that all this fits for an iPad. Just keeping it looking nice there. Again, I'm using this, these orange guides here to make it work on an iPad in landscape mode. So exit the layout, save, and we've got a really great little setup here where we select the job, and then once we have the job selected, it gives us some basic information about that customer. I think we're in really good shape. Now from here, let's go see and make some changes to the customer center so that we have kind of a CRM setup when they give us a call and they're looking for the status of their orders. That's next. Thanks.